Let's go for Wessex blades. Um, Once again, I'm gonna do this down and dirty. There's gonna be a quicker sort of edit, but do stay tuned. Do stay with me in for the long haul. The details on a few of the UK things literally make me balk in their inaccuracy. Um, you gotta grasp it from someone who's been in an industry a few years. You'll understand a painter will look at something and, oh, you've used the wrong undercoat on that. A mechanic will go, oh, you've used the wrong grease on this. A builder will go, oh, did you do that right? And you go, you RSJ? No, 4x2. Okay, someone's done something, and then someone who knows comes along and instantly can just look at it, and it just does not look right. Okay, so yesterday, um, some chap graciously gave me a link to the government's surrender and compensation scheme PDF for those who may have something that's going to fall foul of the new legislation and you could get your £10. I'm not even going to go there, me personally. I've ground everything off that could be problematic. It's dealt with. But if someone was going to, anyway, get your 10 quid. Okay. So I went through the thing and I just went, that's wrong. Just like that. I can't be the first one that's noticed. Surely not. After I've just come across this PDF, it jumped out at me. So I'm going to get the camera, flip it to the other way around, and let's just walk through this a minute. It's not right. So here is the surrendery thing on the UK's assets government media example of weapons that qualify for the surrender. So this is what they think with the specifications of how they're doing everything. So this should be right. Well, first of all, this edit is rough as hell. You know when you give someone a job to do and it's like the first effort they've done, the title of the knife and then the actual example are spanned over it just, the editing, the spacing is shocking. So as we work it out, it looks to be, that's an example, and then we get a description, but the description is of the one beneath. Okay, so it's like one out. So fair enough, they've given you the abstract at the beginning. The measurements relate to from the end of the handle to the tip. Okay, so that's an example. Then you come to 20-inch zombie style machete. It's a plain edge. All right, this is the ones they're trying to get rid of. Okay, so they say it's a 20-inch. So look at the size of the handle and the size of what the blade would be. 20 inch, yeah, okay, I'll give it that, yeah. 20-inch. Now, don't forget, we say a 20-inch machete is a machete with a 20-inch blade. So the handle's going to be 4.5, 5 inches. So it's a 25-inch tool, but it's a 20-inch machete. Right, all right, maybe, if that's what they think, if they knew what they were on about anyway. But for the plain cutting edge, for the way they're describing it, it has a plain cutting edge. Well, there's a serrated cutting edge. Yep, okay, I'll give them the serrated cutting edge, and more than one hole in the blade. So that's their description of that one, more than one hole. So that, okay, yeah, that's a zombie knife. Do we like them? No, they're crap. Let's get rid of them. So the next one, desert style. And there it is with this Tops Armageddon knockoff. So I actually can get this on the same piece of paper as if it was a print off. So the title and the blade, 17-inch. So it's a little bit short. Yeah, okay. It seems to be right. Over 8-inch, serrated cutting edge. Serrated cutting edge. That's that's the top. That's a whatever. Sharp pointed edge and more than one hole. Okay, that seems right. So 17 with a 4.5-inch handle. The sizes seem about right. A
15-inch fantasy blade, and that one was 17. Yeah, okay, I'll give them that. That's a 15-inch blade. Okay, right here. I know what they've done there. They've ripped these things off of the site somewhere. A 10.5-inch fantasy knife, that's its overall length. This has a plain cutting edge, a sharp pointed end, a blade over 8 inches. That blade is not over 8 inches. That blade is not over 8 inches. That is a 10.5 inch fantasy knife, but the 10.5 is OAL, overall length. The blade is just over 6 inches and the handle's just over 4 inches. Right, so I've clipped the photograph out and I have not distorted or stretched the image. It says 10.5 inch fantasy knife, so I've stretched it out until it is 10.5 inches. They say it's a 10.5 inch fantasy knife. There's no way that knife is 10.5, that blade is 10.5 inches. Because there it is, life size. What they've done is they've took the information off of the site somewhere, 10.5 inch fantasy knife, and because they don't know by looking at it what things are, I'm sure, now you look at the knife, it's got a 6-inch blade with a 4.5-inch handle. I'm sure this information was simply lifted off a site, and now they're saying that the blade is over 8 inches in length because they take it as 10.5 inch as 10.5 inch blade, when in fact it was a 10.5 inch knife. So the site had it wrong and the person's lifted it, don't know shine, and just went with it. It's one of those things where I purposely did a video of when the initial sort of blurb came out about having 8-inch knife, 8-inch weapon, 10-inch weapon, and I was going, are you on about overall length or blade length? And I got them to literally, come on guys, get this right, because you're going to stuff it all up. This is a 7.5, 7.25 inch hunting knife. The reason it's a 7.5 inch hunting knife is because the blade is 7.5 inch blade. It's a 7.5 inch hunting knife. It's not over 8 inches, and you could tell that knife handle is quite a long one because it's one of them hollow handle ones. The blade is quite long, but even though it's quite a long hunting knife, you know, 13 inch, 7 and a something blade, 5 and a bit handle makes 13 inches. It's still only a 7.5 inch blade. When I scale that up to do 10.5 inches, the blade's 6 inches because the handle's 4.5 inches. There are proportions to a knife. The handle between 4 and 5 inches, depending on how big the blade is, depends on how much real estate you've got on the handle. And we've been doing videos like this for years. We know by looking at a knife that's 12 inches overall, it'll have a 5-inch handle and a 7-inch blade. If it's 16 inches overall, it'll have a 5-inch handle and an 11-inch blade. Just by looking at it. And I looked at that and went, that's wrong. Surely I'm not the first one to notice. Come on.
That's gone through God knows how much blinking attention, detail. Anybody who's got a knife that looks like that, yes, it's a fantasy knife. Yes, it's a knockoff military Rambo knife, saw back with holes in. Yes, it all is. But that actual knife is not got a blade over 8 inches. It's a 10.5 inch overall with a 6-inch blade and a 5.5 inch handle because it's got a pommel on the back. So it doesn't matter how many holes it's got to their legislation, because it must be 8 inches plus a feature. It doesn't matter how many holes it's got, it doesn't matter how many teeth it's got, it doesn't matter how many serrations it's got, apart from, you know, near the handle and near the leg listen to. You can have serrations on it. The serrations on the back make it not happy, but not the length. And as you know, the newspapers will literally lift this off and stick it in the thing. So all someone has got to do is grumble down the back of it to make them like little, just little gentle flat topped bumps. It's not got any serrations then, and it's less than does it suddenly become a fantasy knife? It has a plain cutting edge, a sharp pointed edge, a blade over 8 inches in length, a serrated cutting edge, and more than one hole. It's got all these things. But if it's not over 8 inches, do the holes make it a survivor? A zombie knife? In and of itself? The serration ones I don't like. They don't like serrations, so we grind them off. Do you know any more than that? I don't know. Anyway, Scott from Wessex Blades. Here we go again. Bad example on a government thingy. What's it? Leave comments underneath. Keep them polite. Thank you much, Lee. And see you on the next one. Good old UK, eh?